Well, hi everybody. We are back. This is Randy, and we are talking about Google Sheets. Today, we're going to build a little project that is useful for building spreadsheet models, and that is building what are called either dynamic dependent dropdowns or conditional dependent dropdowns. What these are building a model where you have a drop-down list, and whatever you select in that list drives the selection choices in a second drop-down. And we're going to show how to do that. There are several ways you can do this. There are ways to do it using scripting. There are ways to do it using indirect and offset formulas. But we're going to show you how I like to do this. And it's very simple, actually, when you get into it. You do have to know a little bit about nested if formulas and then how to create an array formula, which is very simple. And I'll show you how to do all that right here. So let's go on over and take a look at what I'm talking about here. So I've got a spreadsheet built here with two tabs, and then we're going to first show you what it does when it's working, and then we're going to build it again on the second tab. So if we look at this, I've got two lists in columns A and B. Column A has Canada and all of its provinces and territories, and column B has the states of the United States and District of Columbia listed. So what we want to do here is when we select one of these countries from the dropdown, it's just selected Canada. Now when I go to the state or province dropdown, I only see entries that are applicable to Canada. So for instance, I can go to Nunavut, and there it is. Now, if I switch this back over to the United States, none of it's not a valid choice. So we get this error indicator. And so we have to go in and redo that and choose a valid entry there. And you may have noticed that over here in column D, when I change the country, it actually changes this list to match one of these first two. So this is what drives that second drop-down list. And you can hide this. You can put it on a different tab. Construct your models however you want to. My best practices is always to have your entries on one sheet, your calculations and lookups in other sheets, and then your output on still another tab. And you also may have a tab in there explaining how to use the model. But those are all ways to build a easy to use spreadsheet model that you can give to someone else to use. But we're going to show you now how to do these drop downs and make them work like this. So we're going to go to build it. And over here, I don't have anything built other than my two lists in column A and B. I've got a space here for the drop downs. And you might have noticed over here, when I do have an entry, it turns that cell green. That is just for making this easy to see. That is a conditional formatting that shows when it has an entry in there or not. So that's all that is. And I've built that here, I believe, too. So first thing we're going to do is to build this first drop-down list for the country. And that's real easy. All we're going to do is right-click on that and go down to data validation. And the cell range we want to populate is this G1 on the sheet Build It. We're going to select from a list in a range, and that range we're going to choose right here, A1 to B1, which lists the two countries. We select that. We'll show a warning on invalid data, and we'll save. Now we've got a drop-down indicator here, and as you can see, we can select either of those countries. That's perfect. That's what we want. So I'm going to delete that now. Now the second thing we're going to do is make a way to populate this second drop-down that we're going to build here. So I'm going to go over in column D, and I'm going to build a formula here. And it's going to be a special kind of formula. Not only do I need to have an if formula, actually a nested if formula, but then I also need to build it into an array formula. And I will show you why. We'll start out here with just a standard conditional check. We'll do equals if, and if G1 is equal to A1, then what we want to return is A2 through A14. Now we're going to do a nested if. So we're going to put an if formula inside of this if formula as the second condition. So our second if, we'll say if G1 is equal to B1, then what we want to return is B2 through B52. I believe, yes, right there. Otherwise, we don't want anything. So let's put a double quote around nothing there. And we'll close out the parenthesis. And now what we will see here is if we choose a country, that populates D2 with that second line of whichever country we put it in here. But that's not what we want. We need more than just one entry. Now, the problem with these kind of formulas, it's not an array formula. That means it can't handle multiple bits of data from different cells. It can only handle one bit of data out of one cell. So now we're going to change this to an array formula. Now there's a couple of ways to do this. You can just type in equals array formula on this, or we can do Control Shift Enter. And then that adds our extra parenthesis. And in Google Sheets, it actually puts in equal array formula and then starts our formula that we just built. So now when I put that in there, and we'll look at that formula again right up here in the formula bar, it's just preface that entire formula with equal array formula and then put our formula within another set of parentheses. And we can see the ranges highlighted that it applies to. So that's perfect. That's what we want. So now if we choose Canada, we get the whole list. And if we choose United States, we get the entire list. That's what we want right there. So now 2 things are done. Actually 3 things, because we've built nested if formulas, we've built an array formula, and now also we've built the first dropdown. So now what is left to do is build this second dropdown. And so that's going to be an easy one too. We're going to go down, data validation, and we're going to build it G3. That's correct. We want a list from a range, and the range that is possible on that is going to be D2 through D52. And we're going to say OK. Oops. I made a mistake there. So we're going to let's cancel out of that. Let's do that again. So we're going to our range here. Select the data range. And we'll just select it. I could type it in, but we're going to select it here just for expediency's sake. There we go. And we're going to say show a warning if it's invalid. And now I think we should be done. So let's choose Canada. And now we are seeing drop-downs that are applicable to Canada. If we choose, let's say, okay, Northwest Territories, that's working fine. Now if we choose United States, we get that error indicator. So we have to choose another selection, which is California. And it's pulling it off of this column D. Now you can take this column D and you don't want people to see it, or you want to protect it. You can always, hide it, whatever. And now it doesn't even show up. But it's that simple. And then you can let these drop-down cells drive other parts of your spreadsheet model. So that's it. It's that simple. The easiest way I know of to do this. And I hope you found that useful. So until next time, I guess that's about it for now. And we will see you in the next round. So everybody have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye now.